You Are the Value, Build Wealth from Within, written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Most people spend their lives chasing things they can lose. Jobs come and go. Titles change. Bank accounts rise and fall. Even the spotlight moves on. Yet day after day, we're taught to anchor our worth to these shifting things. Like building a home on sand and wondering why it never feels steady. But what if real wealth doesn't start with money at all? What if it starts with you? Not the version of you the world expects, not the highlight reel you post online, but the deep down, honest you, the one who's still standing after every setback, still trying even after failing, still showing up even when no one's watching. That's where this book begins. Because the truth is, money is just a tool, a good one, a needed one, but not the most important one. Before you build a bigger income, you need a stronger foundation. Before you stack success, you need to know what you're standing on. That's not motivational talk. That's structural wisdom. When we outsource our worth to paychecks, promotions, or praise, we give up control over our future. But when we root our value from within, everything changes. You stop waiting for the world to tell you you're enough. You start living like you already are. This book isn't about quick tips or get-rich formulas. It's about inner shifts that lead to outer change. It's for the entrepreneur figuring it out, the career changer at a crossroads, the dreamer who's been told to be realistic. It's for anyone tired of chasing wealth and ready to build it, from the inside out. The chapters ahead won't just inform you, they'll ground you, challenge you, equip you. And most importantly, remind you that you already have what you need. You are the value. And when you build from there, no one can take it away. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Root of All Value. Imagine a man running through a field, arms outstretched, trying to catch the wind. He sees others gripping golden kites, fame, fortune, status, and he chases harder, convinced that if he just runs faster, he'll grab hold too. But the wind keeps slipping through his fingers. Eventually, breathless and bitter, he stops. Not because he's reached the goal, but because the chase has drained him. This is how most people pursue wealth. They believe value is something external, something earned only after enough validation, accolades, or digits in a bank account. So they stretch themselves thin, trying to become worthy in the eyes of the world, not realizing that what they're looking for was never out there to begin with. Value starts underground. A tree never questions its worth, because it knows its roots. Beneath the soil, it draws unseen strength, nutrients, stability, life. It doesn't flaunt its branches before anchoring its roots. In the same way, your truest wealth grows from the ground of your identity, not the air of applause. You are the value, not your job title, not your salary, not how many people follow you, endorse you, or think you're important. These things are branches. They grow, they change, they sometimes fall. But if your roots are deep, if you know your worth before the world weighs in, then you remain unshaken. Many people outsource their sense of value. They hand it to bosses, algorithms, and bank balances, and then wonder why they feel so unstable. It's like building a house on a moving truck and hoping it feels like home. No matter how luxurious it looks, you'll always feel motion sickness. The truth is, no market can price what you don't first perceive. When you see yourself as valuable, the world begins to reflect that belief, not always instantly, not always loudly, but over time. Internal conviction shapes external reality. What's rooted deep eventually breaks through the surface. Confidence is not arrogance. It's not pretending to be more than you are. It's knowing, quietly and deeply, that what you carry matters. It's the calm strength of a tree, standing firm in a storm, not because it's invincible, but because it's anchored. So ask yourself, what are you building from? Are you chasing value like the man running after the wind? Or are you becoming value, grounded, growing, and generous? True wealth isn't a number. It's a state of being. It's living in a way where your self-worth isn't for sale, where your actions align with your principles, where your energy isn't consumed proving something, but offering something. You were not meant to live rootless. The world is loud with voices telling you what you need to become to be valuable, but you already are. The journey isn't about acquiring worth. It's about uncovering it, clearing the dirt, watering the roots, giving yourself the light and space to grow. The deeper your roots, the higher your reach. And that's not just poetic, it's practical. People who build from within can weather more, create more, give more. They're not easily shaken, because their foundation isn't built on approval, but truth. You are the root system. Everything grows from there. Wealth begins with identity, not income. You are not chasing value, you already contain it. Lasting success grows from inner conviction, not outer validation. Where have you been chasing validation instead of cultivating your inner worth? Write down 3 qualities or skills that make you valuable, without linking them to your job or income. Chapter 2. The Soil of Self-Worth. A seed can only become a tree if the soil is right. Rich, dark earth cradles the seed, giving it warmth, nutrients, and room to root. But imagine trying to grow in sand. The seed may sprout, but it struggles dry, unsupported, fragile. The same is true for people. No matter how gifted, skilled, or determined you are, if your self-worth is depleted, your growth will feel like a constant uphill battle. Self-worth is the soil in which all value takes root, and too many are trying to build wealth in barren ground. We don't choose our soil at birth. Some are raised in rich environments, where their value is spoken over them early: you're capable, you're enough, you matter. Others grow up hearing the opposite: you're too much, not enough, a burden. These messages sink deep, becoming the invisible ground we build our lives on. If your soil has been polluted by criticism, rejection, or neglect, it doesn't mean you're doomed. It means your first job isn't to hustle harder, it's to heal. A farmer doesn't yell at the soil for being dry, he waters it. He tends to it, he enriches it. That's what self-worth work looks like. Not ego. Not self-help slogans. Just honest, patient restoration. Many people chase external success, hoping it will rewrite the stories they carry inside. But no trophy can erase a root-level belief that you're not enough. Even when the branches look impressive, the rot underneath eventually shows. You can't out-earn unworthiness. You can only unlearn it. Consider the voices you've absorbed over the years. Which ones told you that your value depended on performance, that you had to achieve to be accepted? That love was conditional? These voices aren't facts. They're echoes. And you get to decide whether they keep echoing in your life or get replaced with truth. Self-worth isn't about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing you don't have to be. It's a quiet steadiness, a sense that, even on your worst day, you still matter. You still carry worth that no mistake, failure, or rejection can take away. To rebuild your soil, you have to name the lies buried in it. Then, plant truth in their place. If you've been told you're lazy, remind yourself of moments you showed grit. If you've been called unworthy, write down the ways you've added value to others. If you feel replaceable, list the qualities that make you one of a kind. This isn't fluff, it's foundation. In the same way a tree's roots need minerals and moisture, your sense of worth needs reminders, reinforcement, and repair. Speak kindly to yourself. Surround yourself with those who see your light. Set boundaries with people who only see your use. Without healthy soil, nothing grows well. With it, even a small seed can become a forest. You are not broken, barren ground. Your soil in process being tended, healed, renewed. And as your self-worth deepens, everything you build becomes more sustainable, more joyful, more whole. Because when you believe you are valuable, you stop begging others to prove it. And that's when real growth begins. Self-worth is the foundation for lasting value and success. You can't build sustainably on inner beliefs that say you're not enough. Healing your self-worth transforms everything that grows from it. What beliefs about your value did you absorb growing up? And are they still serving you? Write down one lie you've believed about yourself and replace it with a truth you choose to believe today. Chapter 3. Confidence as Capital. Picture 2 people with the same resume, same skills, same experience, same background. One walks into a room and commands attention, not by being loud, but by being certain. The other fades into the background, unsure, hesitant, afraid to speak up. When the opportunity comes, who gets chosen? Not the more capable one, the more confident one. Confidence is often more valuable than credentials. That's not because the world rewards arrogance, but because confidence signals trust. When you believe in your own value, others are more likely to believe in it too. It's a signal that says, This person knows who they are and what they bring. That signal travels faster than words. It shows up in how you speak, how you walk, how you show up in rooms, digital or real. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And it doesn't come from getting everything right, it comes from surviving what went wrong. Every time you face fear and move anyway, you invest in your own self-trust. Every time you act with courage, even when unsure, you earn a little more internal capital. That capital compounds. Think of confidence like a bank account. Every brave decision is a deposit. Every time you speak up, show up, try again after falling, deposit. It grows. Over time, you develop enough capital to take bigger risks, pursue bigger goals, and trust yourself in unfamiliar territory. But many people never make those deposits because they're waiting for permission, waiting to be told they're good enough, waiting to feel no fear before taking the leap. But that's not how confidence works. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to act in spite of it. There's a myth that you have to feel confident to do something bold. But most of the time, confidence comes after the action, not before. You speak even though your voice shakes. You apply for the opportunity, even though you doubt yourself. And then, on the other side, you realize you were capable all along. That realization deposits more belief into your internal account. The opposite is also true. Every time you shrink back, stay silent, or avoid the challenge, you reinforce the lie that you're not enough. Or that withdrawal costs you. Not in reputation, but in internal equity. Over time, those tiny withdrawals leave you depleted, unsure, and disconnected from your own value. To shift this, you don't need to fake it, you just need to show up. Start with small wins. Speak up in a meeting. Send the email you've been hesitating on. Learn something new, and apply it. Each moment builds momentum. Confidence isn't loud or flashy, it's steady. It's the quiet courage to take consistent steps toward who you're becoming. When you invest in your confidence, you become a safer bet to yourself and to others. People aren't just drawn to what you do, they're drawn to how you carry it. Confidence communicates competence, even before results arrive. This is especially powerful when systems around you are unstable. Job markets change. Industries evolve. But your confidence, the belief in your adaptability, your problem solving, your presence, becomes a form of currency no one can devalue. Confidence won't solve every problem, but it will get you into rooms where solutions live. You don't need to be the loudest, the best, or the most liked. You just need to believe deeply and daily that what you carry matters, because it does. And when you know that, the world starts to mirror it back. Confidence is earned through action, not granted by approval. Self-trust is a form of capital that compounds over time. Boldness builds belief, and belief builds momentum. Where in your life are you waiting for confidence instead of building it? Take one small action today that scares you, then write down how it made you feel afterward. Chapter 4. Skill is the root system. Beneath the surface of every strong, towering tree lies a complex root system, stretching far and wide. Invisible to the eye, it anchors the tree in storms, feeds it daily, and keeps it growing season after season. Without roots, the tree falls. Without skill, the same happens to people. Skill is the root system of your personal value. It's not glamorous, it doesn't trend. But it's the thing that supports everything else: confidence, opportunity, income, impact. You can be the most passionate person in the room, but without cultivated skill, that passion floats like a balloon with no string. Beautiful for a moment, but gone with the wind. Many people wait for someone to discover them, believe in them, or reward them. But skill doesn't wait, it builds. It's quiet, often unnoticed at first, but it compounds in the background. One day, people call it talent, but talent is just skill that grew patiently. The myth of overnight success blinds many. We see someone explode onto the scene and assume they just got lucky. What we don't see are the 10,000 hours in the dark, the repetitions, the learning, the failing. Roots don't make noise when they grow, but without them, there's no rise. Your skill is proof of your value, not because it defines you, but because it expresses you. It turns invisible belief into visible contribution. When you refine your skills, you send a clear signal to the world: I take my value seriously enough to sharpen it. Skill also gives you options. The more capable you are, the less dependent you become. You don't have to beg for opportunity, you can create it. You don't have to chase money, you can solve problems that money follows. The deeper your skill, the more resilient your economy. But skill isn't just what you're good at, it's what you've trained. Being naturally gifted in something doesn't matter if you don't cultivate it. Raw potential is just that, raw. Only when shaped, stretched, and disciplined does it become valuable. This is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. 1 hour a day sharpening a skill adds up faster than most people realize. Reading, practicing, asking better questions, learning from others, these are the quiet moves that expand your capacity. Not loudly, but reliably. And skill isn't limited to hard skills like coding, writing, or design. Emotional intelligence is a skill. Listening is a skill. Problem solving, leading, communicating, all skills, and every one of them adds to your value. The question isn't, do I have enough? It's, am I still growing? When you treat skill like your root system, you stop chasing shortcuts. You dig in. You trust that while the growth may be slow, it's also unstoppable. A rooted person doesn't panic when storms come. They've done the work, underground. Start by auditing your current skill set. What do you do well? What are you curious about? Where do you feel stuck? Then, pick one skill to improve, not 10. Just one. Focus breeds mastery. Mastery breeds momentum. You don't need a certificate to prove your worth, but skill will prove it anyway. Because in a world full of noise, those who've done the deep work rise steadily, grounded, strong, and unshakable. Skill is the hidden root system that supports your visible value. Talent is skill that has been shaped through consistent effort. Building skill gives you independence, confidence, and long-term leverage. What one skill, if you improved it consistently, would most increase your internal value? Choose a skill and commit to 15 focus minutes today. Study, practice, or refine it without distraction. Chapter 5. Clarity is Currency. Imagine holding a handful of coins. They shine, they feel solid, but you don't know where they came from or what they're worth. You walk into a market, unsure what you can afford, unsure what to ask for, unsure what even matters. This is how most people move through life, carrying value but lacking clarity. Clarity is what turns potential into power. Without it, even the most talented person stays stuck. They may have skill, drive, even confidence, but if they're unclear about who they are, what they offer, and where they're going, they drift. Clarity isn't about having all the answers, it's about knowing which questions matter. It's a compass, not a map. Many people confuse motion with direction. They stay busy, jump from task to task, constantly working but never truly progressing. That's what happens when clarity is missing. It's like trying to sail with full speed but no rudder. You might move fast, but you're just spinning in circles. Clarity begins with identity. Not who the world says you are, but who you know yourself to be. What values guide you? What principles are non-negotiable? What kind of life do you want to build, not just on the outside but on the inside too? These questions may not have quick answers, but sitting with them shapes direction. Next comes contribution. What do you offer? What problems are you equipped to solve? What makes your perspective, experience, or skill uniquely positioned to help others? When you can name this, your value becomes visible, not only to yourself but to others. People trust those who know what they bring to the table. Then comes alignment. Clarity is not only knowing your value but choosing to live in sync with it. You might have a gift for teaching, but if you bury it under fear or try to copy someone else's path, it gets muffled. Clarity means stepping into your lane fully, not halfway, not when it's convenient, but with intention. In a noisy world, clarity is rare. That's why it's currency. It builds trust. Employers, clients, and collaborators aren't just drawn to talent, they're drawn to people who know where they're going. Unclear people leak value. Clear people compound it. Clarity also protects you. When you know who you are and what you're building, you say no with more ease. You stop chasing everything and start choosing the right things. Not every opportunity becomes a temptation. Not every opinion becomes a weight. And here's the beautiful part. Clarity grows with action. You don't have to figure it all out before moving forward. Sometimes, the doing reveals the knowing. You try something, reflect, refine, and through the process, the fog clears. The key is to move with reflection, not reaction. To grow your clarity, start by defining your personal value statement. A simple sentence that answers, who am I helping, and how? For example, I help overwhelmed professionals communicate with clarity. Or I equip students to believe in their future. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Once you have that, use it like a filter. Does your calendar reflect it? Do your conversations support it? Are your habits aligned with it? If not, start adjusting. Small course corrections over time lead to massive shifts in direction. Clarity doesn't shout, it whispers, but when you listen, everything sharpens: your decisions, your confidence, your impact. Because when you're clear, others can trust you, and trust, like wealth, builds fast when it's grounded in truth. Clarity transforms potential into usable power. Identity, contribution, and alignment form the pillars of personal clarity. Clarity grows through intentional reflection and consistent action. Where in your life do you feel most unclear, and what question could help you find direction? Write your one-sentence personal value statement, who you help and how, and reflect on whether your actions align with it. Chapter 6: Identity versus Income. A man builds a sandcastle on the shore, each tower tall and precise. People stop to admire it. He beams with pride. But when the tide rolls in, the water doesn't care. It washes away his work, and in moments, everything is gone. The man is left staring at the empty shore, wondering who he is without the castle. This is what happens when we confuse our income with our identity. Income is a result. Identity is a root. One can change overnight. The other anchors you through every season. But in a culture that praises productivity and pegs worth to net worth, the lines blur. People start to see their paychecks as mirrors, reflecting how successful or significant they are. When money flows, they feel valuable. When it dries up, they question their worth. It's dangerous ground. Because when identity is tied to income, every financial dip feels like a personal failure. A lost job becomes a lost self. A missed goal becomes a wound to the soul. And even success feels fragile, because it's built on circumstances, not character. You're only as valuable as your last win. But you are not your income. You are not your numbers, your status, or your possessions. You are the person who earns, not the earnings themselves. The value you carry is intrinsic, unchanging, even when circumstances shift. Detaching identity from income doesn't mean ignoring money. It means refusing to let money define you. You still work, build, earn, invest. But you do it from a place of security, not desperation. Your actions come from alignment, not anxiety. This shift is subtle, but powerful. When your identity is rooted, you can handle success with humility and loss without collapse. You become less reactive to external change because your core stays steady. You stop trying to earn your worth and start expressing it through your work. Many people fear this idea because they think identity without income leads to laziness. But it's the opposite. When you stop chasing worth, you free up energy to create from wholeness. You build better. You serve deeper. You become bolder, because failure no longer means you're a failure. It's also worth noting that income reflects many things: timing, industry, opportunity, not just effort or intelligence. Brilliant people sometimes earn less. Mediocre ideas sometimes go viral. If you base your identity on what the market says, you'll ride a roller coaster that never stops. Your identity is deeper than dollars. It's shaped by your character, your choices, your values. It's who you are when no one's watching. It's how you treat people, how you recover from mistakes, how you stay true to your principles under pressure. So the next time your income rises, celebrate, but don't let it inflate your ego. And when it falls, pause, but don't let it shrink your spirit. Your worth hasn't changed. Your roots are still there. One practical way to separate identity from income is to build rhythms that reinforce who you are beyond what you earn. Practice gratitude, not just for things but for growth. Track progress, not just profits. Surround yourself with people who reflect your essence, not just your achievements. The sandcastle may wash away, but the builder remains. And when you remember that, you stop living at the mercy of the tide. You start building from solid ground. Income is external and variable. Identity is internal and stable. Tying self-worth to earnings leads to fragile confidence and emotional volatility. Rooting identity in character, not cash flow, brings freedom and resilience. In what ways have you allowed your income to define your identity, and what truth can replace that? Write a personal affirmation that describes your identity independent of your financial status. Repeat it daily for 1 week. Chapter 7. Emotional Debt Wealth Traps. A person can make 6 figures and still feel broke. Not because the math is wrong, but because something deeper hasn't been addressed. Like a house with hidden cracks, the surface looks fine, but beneath it lies damage. Emotional debt works the same way. It quietly drains your energy, limits your choices, and shapes your relationship with money, often without you realizing it. Emotional debt is the cost of carrying unprocessed pain. It's the belief you have to prove yourself because someone once said you weren't enough. It's the guilt that stops you from enjoying what you've earned. It's the fear of success rooted in the idea that good things won't last. These internal burdens act like taxes on your potential. No matter how much you earn, you can't fully receive it because part of you still feels undeserving. This is why some people sabotage success. They don't feel safe holding it. The moment things start going well, they backtrack, hesitate, or overextend, subconsciously trying to return to a level that feels familiar, even if it's painful. Until the emotional debt is paid, the mind keeps defaulting to struggle. Wealth isn't just financial, it's emotional capacity. True wealth means having peace when you rest, confidence when you act, and clarity when you plan. But if your internal world is full of shame, regret, or resentment, it's hard to build anything that lasts. You can't plant seeds in soil that hasn't been cleared. Wealth traps often disguise themselves as ambition, working nonstop to prove you matter. Saying yes to everything out of fear of being left behind, competing with others for approval instead of aligning with your own values. These patterns look like hustle but feel like heaviness. Breaking free starts with awareness. Ask yourself, what emotions are tied to my relationship with money? Do I feel guilt when I spend on myself? Do I feel anxious when I save or invest? Do I believe there's never enough, no matter how much I earn? These questions aren't about blame, they're about liberation. Your financial patterns often echo emotional narratives from the past. Maybe you were told money is evil, or that success makes you selfish. Maybe you saw wealth used to control rather than uplift. These imprints linger until they're questioned and replaced. Paying off emotional debt doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty. Start by naming the story. Write it down. Then, challenge it. Is it true? Where did it come from? What evidence do you have that it no longer serves you? This isn't about denying your past, it's about refusing to let it dictate your future. You also need to forgive, not just others but yourself. Many carry quiet shame for mistakes they made with money. But shame isn't a teacher, it's a trap. Learning grows from grace, not guilt. Extend the same compassion to yourself that you would to a friend. You're allowed to evolve. As emotional debt is cleared, you begin to notice more freedom. Not just in finances, but in how you carry yourself. Decisions feel lighter. Opportunities feel more reachable. You're not building from lack, but from love. Not out of fear, but from a place of alignment. Money becomes a tool, not a trigger. You stop reacting to old wounds and start responding with wisdom. That's real wealth. Emotional debt quietly sabotages financial peace and progress. Wealth traps often mask unresolved feelings like fear, guilt, or shame. Healing emotional patterns allows wealth to flow from a place of peace. What emotional patterns or beliefs around money might be limiting your growth? Write down one limiting money belief you carry. Challenge it with one empowering truth you choose to believe instead. Chapter 8. Consistency is compound interest. There's a myth that success comes from one giant leap, a single moment of brilliance that changes everything. But in reality, greatness grows through quiet, repetitive steps, not dramatic, not newsworthy, just steady, like drops of water filling a jar. At first it seems like nothing's happening, then suddenly the jar overflows. Consistency is the compound interest of personal growth. Small, repeated actions done with purpose build momentum. They may not impress anyone at first. But over time, they separate the rooted from the restless, the builders from the burners out. Talent starts the engine, But consistency keeps it running when motivation fades. We live in a world obsessed with intensity: go hard, burn bright, hustle fast. But intensity without consistency is like planting seeds and walking away. The soil dries. The weeds take over, nothing sticks. Consistency is what waters the seeds. It's what transforms desire into discipline and goals into habits. Most people don't fail because they lack vision. They fail because they break rhythm. They get excited, sprint forward, then stall when the excitement wears off. They expect transformation overnight, and when it doesn't happen, they quit. But lasting change isn't a sprint, it's a ritual. Think of any area in life where you've grown: confidence, skill, clarity. It didn't happen all at once. It came from repetition. You showed up. You tried again. You learned. You kept going. That rhythm became your root system, and now what once felt hard feels natural. This is how value grows: quietly, repeatedly, daily. The power of consistency isn't just in the act, it's in the message it sends. Every time you show up, you tell yourself, "I'm someone who follows through." That identity compounds faster than any to-do list. You stop needing outside validation because your own integrity becomes your reward. Consistency also breeds trust. People trust those who are dependable, not just passionate. Employers, clients, even relationships thrive on rhythm. You don't need to be extraordinary every day, just steady, just honest, just present. But consistency isn't about perfection. You will miss days. You'll get tired. Life will interrupt. That's not failure. That's life. The key is not starting over, it's continuing. If you miss a beat, return to the rhythm. Progress is never linear. It's lived in the return. To build consistency, make it easy to win, shrink the habit. Instead of writing for an hour, start with 10 minutes. Instead of overhauling your budget, track one spending choice. Progress loves simplicity. The more achievable the task, the more likely it becomes part of your rhythm. It also helps to anchor your habits to purpose. When consistency feels dull, remember what it's building. You're not just checking boxes, you're compounding identity. You're laying bricks for a life that feels rooted and real. The effort is never wasted. Even on the hard days, it's adding up. And yes, some days it will feel like nothing's happening. Like the effort isn't working. But that's just the silence before the bloom. Just because you can't see the growth doesn't mean it's not there. The roots are deepening. The future is forming. Eventually, others will call it luck, but you'll know better. You'll know it was rhythm, integrity, a quiet faith in the process. That's what builds wealth that lasts. Consistency compounds value more than bursts of intensity. Daily rhythm builds identity, self-trust, and long-term growth. Progress is not about perfection, it's about returning to the rhythm. What habit, if practiced consistently, would create the biggest shift in your life? Choose one small action you can repeat daily for the next week, and track it with a simple checkmark. Chapter 9: Aligning Purpose with Profit. There's a difference between making money and making meaning. One fills your account. The other fills your soul. But the rarest form of wealth is when both align, when what you do to earn also elevates who you are. That's not just success, that's sustainability. Purpose isn't just a lofty idea, it's a powerful compass. It guides your decisions, energizes your work, and anchors your value. Without it, profit can feel hollow. You can earn well and still feel empty, wondering if any of it truly matters. But when your profit flows from purpose, every dollar carries dignity. The most enduring businesses, movements, and careers come from solving real problems. They aren't built on trends. They're built on service. Someone saw a pain point and chose to bring healing. Someone noticed a need and brought a solution. Profit followed purpose, not the other way around. Chasing profit without purpose is like rowing a boat in circles. You're moving, but going nowhere meaningful. It's easy to get caught in this loop, doing what pays, even if it drains you, because it's familiar. But the longer you stay misaligned, the more value you leak. Energy fades, creativity dries, burnout comes quickly. Aligning with purpose doesn't mean quitting your job or starting a nonprofit. It means reconnecting your work with your why. Why does what you do matter? Who does it help? What part of you feels most alive when you're doing it? These aren't philosophical distractions, They're the roots of resilience. Sometimes, purpose hides in plain sight. It's not always dramatic. It could be helping others feel heard, teaching complex things in simple ways, creating beauty, bringing calm to chaos. Purpose is often less about what you do and more about how you do it, and who benefits from it. To align purpose with profit, start by identifying your unique blend of skills, passions, and values. What are you good at? What do you care about? What do you believe deeply? Somewhere in that intersection lies your purpose. When you bring that purpose into your work, profit becomes a byproduct, not the main pursuit. This doesn't mean you'll love every task or every day, but it means you'll feel connected to a deeper reason for doing it. That connection gives grit. It fuels persistence, creativity, and joy, and people can feel it. Clients, customers, and colleagues are drawn to work done with heart. It also clarifies decision-making. When opportunities come, you're not swayed by money alone. You ask, does this align with my purpose? If yes, you lean in. If not, you let it go. That clarity protects your time and preserves your peace. There's nothing noble about being broke for a cause, and there's nothing shameful about earning wealth through service. The goal isn't to choose between meaning or money. It's to blend them into a rhythm where you're both fulfilled and funded. When your work reflects your essence, wealth becomes more than a number. It becomes a reflection of alignment. That's the sweet spot. Because when purpose drives profit, you don't just build income, you build impact. Purpose gives meaning to profit and creates sustainable motivation. Aligning skills, values, and service leads to work that fulfills and funds you. True wealth flows when what you do reflects who you are. Where do your skills, passions, and values intersect, and how can that shape your path to profit? Write one sentence that defines your purpose. Then brainstorm one way to bring it into your current work this week. Chapter 10. Building your personal economy. In nature, a forest doesn't rely on one tree to provide everything. It thrives through an ecosystem, roots intertwined, nutrients shared, diversity protected. If one part suffers, others compensate. That's what stability looks like. In life, too many people build their financial world like a single tree standing alone. One job, one stream, one hope. And when the storm comes, everything crashes. Your personal economy is your self-built ecosystem. It's the intentional design of how you earn, grow, save, and share value in ways that are flexible, meaningful, and resilient. Instead of relying on external markets to define your worth or future, you create systems around your unique strengths and values. You stop living as a dependent and start operating as a steward. Building your personal economy begins with awareness. What resources do you already have? Not just money, but skills, relationships, knowledge, and time. These are all forms of capital. Too often, we only count what's in our bank account and ignore the assets we've already developed through life. But your network, experience, mindset, and ability to adapt are just as powerful. The next step is diversification. Just like nature doesn't rely on one species to sustain the soil, you shouldn't rely on one income source to sustain your life. This doesn't mean juggling 5 side hustles at once. It means thinking strategically. Could you teach what you know? Consult on what you've mastered? License a skill? Monetize your ideas in multiple ways? Your personal economy should also include rhythms for reinvestment. What you earn is not just for spending. Part of it should go back into growth, books, coaching, tools, training. The most resilient economies are those that reinvest in themselves. It's not a cost, it's a cycle. Every time you grow, your earning potential expands. But this isn't just about making more, it's about designing better. What kind of lifestyle do you want? What hours, environments, or people energize you? Your economy should reflect your values, not contradict them. Otherwise, you'll build wealth at the expense of wellness. That's not freedom, that's a new form of bondage. One powerful shift is to move from consumer to creator. In a consumer economy, you wait, spend, react. In a creator economy, you design, offer, lead. This doesn't require fame or millions of followers. It simply means asking, how can I use what I have to create value for others? That question, when asked consistently, births opportunity. As you build, track what works. Treat your economy like a living system. Observe, adapt, refine. What brings energy? What drains it? What creates impact? What feels forced? Data isn't just for corporations, their patterns matter. And when you track them with honesty, they guide better decisions. A personal economy is not about isolation. Collaboration often multiplies your impact. Partnerships, referrals, shared projects, they all extend your ecosystem. The key is alignment. Build with people who share your values, not just your goals. A misaligned partnership can cost more than it adds. Lastly, remember that a personal economy is built over time. It's not a weekend project, it's a mindset, a rhythm. A lens you apply to every choice, but with consistency, it grows. And soon, you'll look around and realize, you're not waiting for the economy to recover, you've built your own. And in that ecosystem, you don't just survive, you thrive. A personal economy is an intentional, diversified, and value-driven system of earning and living. You are richer than you think. Your skills, time, relationships, and ideas are powerful assets. When you shift from dependency to design, you create financial and emotional freedom. What parts of your life can be turned into assets within your personal economy? Identify one skill or piece of knowledge you can package into a small offer, service, or resource, and sketch out a simple plan to test it. Chapter 11: External Wealth, Internal Anchor. There's a reason lottery winners often end up broke. The money came fast, but the mindset didn't shift. They had external wealth, but no internal anchor. Like a ship without ballast, they were carried away by the tides. What you hold on the outside can only be sustained if something steady lives within. External wealth is what the world sees: income, assets, possessions. Internal wealth is what you carry: values, peace, discipline, direction. Without the latter, the former becomes unstable. It's not how much you earn, but how deeply you're rooted. That's what determines whether your success is sustainable or short-lived. Many people believe if they just had more money, their problems would disappear, but money only amplifies what already exists. If you're insecure, it fuels comparison. If you're careless, it accelerates loss. If you're grounded, it becomes a tool for impact. Money is a magnifier, not a miracle. That's why inner anchoring matters more than outward accumulation. The most dangerous form of poverty is not financial, it's emotional. When someone has everything but still feels empty, it's a sign the foundation is missing. No raise can replace purpose. No purchase can fill a lack of peace. Anchoring yourself begins with awareness. What are your values? What boundaries protect them? What does success really mean to you? Not the version handed to you, but the one that aligns with your soul. These aren't abstract questions. They're stabilizers. They ground your decisions and direct your path when the winds shift. One of the strongest internal anchors is contentment, not settling, but appreciating. It's the ability to experience joy where you are, even while moving forward. Without it, ambition becomes an addiction, more becomes the only goal, and enough is never reached. Contentment doesn't kill drive. It keeps it healthy. Discipline is another anchor. It protects your wealth from erosion. It tells you when to pause, when to push, and when to say no. A person with discipline doesn't fear abundance, they're ready to manage it. Their habits can hold the weight of their goals. Identity, too, plays a vital role. If your sense of self is tied to success, any setback becomes a crisis. But when identity is rooted in something deeper, values, purpose, integrity, you become storm-resistant. You can lose a deal, a job, or a season and still know who you are. Anchoring also means defining enough. Without this, you'll always chase. You'll move the goalpost every time you hit it, living in a constant state of lack. But when you define what enough looks like, financially, emotionally, relationally, you create a clear boundary around your peace. This doesn't mean you stop growing. It means you grow with direction. Your wealth journey becomes an extension of who you are, not a substitute for it. And that's where freedom lives, not in having everything, but in knowing what truly matters. The world will always tempt you to measure worth by what you show. But true wealth is often quiet. It's the ability to sleep well, to look in the mirror with integrity, or to say no without guilt. To give generously without fear of lack. You don't need to reject external wealth, just refuse to be ruled by it. Root yourself first, then build. Because when storms come, and they will, it's not the size of your portfolio that will hold you steady. It's the strength of your anchor. External wealth is only as sustainable as your internal stability. Anchors like discipline, identity, and contentment protect wealth from erosion. True freedom comes from being rooted, not just rich. What internal anchor do you need to strengthen to support the next level of your external growth? Write down your top 3 values. Next to each, write one action you'll take this week to align your finances with that value. Chapter 12. You are the root. Everything grows from there. Stand in a field after a storm, and you'll notice something. The tallest trees aren't the ones that survived because they were lucky. They survived because they were rooted. Their branches swayed, leaves scattered, but their foundation held. The storm tested their structure, and they passed. That's what happens when growth starts from within. You are the root. Every branch of your life, career, income, relationships, creativity grows from the soil of your self-worth, confidence, and clarity. When you tend to those roots, everything else aligns. You don't have to chase approval. You don't have to fear collapse. You become steady, even in seasons of change. This journey was never about adding layers to become someone else. It was about peeling back the noise to remember who you are. Underneath the pressure, the roles, the expectations, there is a core of value that has always been there, waiting to be seen, owned, and acted upon. When you recognize that you are the value, you stop bargaining for it. You stop measuring your worth by fleeting metrics. Instead, you begin to build from wholeness, and that changes everything. Your decisions gain precision, your habits gain power. Your voice gains volume, not because you're shouting, but because you're certain. You now know that real wealth isn't just external. It's how you carry yourself, how you show up, how you serve. It's your ability to move through life with a sense of purpose that can't be shaken by numbers or opinions. You've seen that confidence is capital, clarity is currency, and consistency is the compound interest that shapes your future. The world may never fully understand the shift you've made. That's okay, roots are hidden. But their results are visible. People will feel your presence change, they'll sense the grounded way you speak, decide, and create. And while they may call it luck or talent, you'll know it's deeper. It's rootedness. From this point forward, you no longer wait for permission to grow. You no longer ask external systems to define your direction. You've reclaimed your foundation. You've learned to build a personal economy based on your strengths and values. You've aligned purpose with profit, and you've anchored wealth with internal truth. Does that mean you'll never feel doubt again? Of course not. Even strong trees sway, but now when the wind comes, you won't panic. You'll remember what holds you. You'll return to the roots. You'll ground yourself again and again, because that's what powerful people do. They grow from the inside out. So the final invitation is simple: stay rooted. Don't let the noise pull you into shallow soil. Don't trade authenticity for applause. Don't rush to produce branches when your roots still need tending. Keep watering your worth. Keep refining your skills. Keep honoring your rhythm. Over time, you'll build a life that doesn't just look strong, it is strong. And when others come looking for shelter, inspiration, or clarity, you'll offer shade. Not because you chased success, but because you became it. You are the source of your own value. Everything external flows from internal alignment. Grounded identity creates sustainable, peaceful success. Remaining rooted is the key to enduring storms and growing with purpose. What part of your internal foundation, belief, skill, or rhythm do you commit to strengthening most in the next season? Write a personal declaration that begins with "I am the root" and post it where you'll see it daily. Take care and be well.